Welcome to Demasked. My name is Fresman, and today I'm joined by Corporal Creepy. How's it going today?
It's going all right. Just been playing World of Warcraft and talking to people on Twitter.
Oh, what side are you on World of Warcraft?
Horde. I like the trolls.
Alright, fine. Nobody ever chooses the Pandarans, man.
I mean, they're the Switzerland of the factions. Why would I?
So, Corporal, what do you do on YouTube?
I mainly do horror stories. I narrate horror, and I'm trying to get more voice acting work.
Mm-hmm. How long have you done YouTube for?
Totally. I started off with a Let's Play channel just to get the ins and outs of editing learned. And I did that back in, I think, 2018 or 2017. And then after that, I started up this channel, I think. Well, hell, I can just pull it up because it's not hard to.
Well, the first video I'm seeing is Officer Horror Time trailer.
Yeah, so it says July 29th of 2018 is when I started this channel. So, God, I guess it was longer whenever I did Torva's Games, but that was like centuries ago, it feels like.
So what got you into YouTube in the first place?
I was trying to find a hobby, an outlet for like my creative energy. And, I was building stuff and doing all this other stuff, and then, that stuff costs a lot of money. And I figured, well, I play games all the time, I love reading, why don't I do those and try to entertain others while I do it?
Yeah. Do you have a favorite story that you've either covered on the channel or just in general?
Oh, I do. My favorite story that I've done is I'm trying to sell a chair. And it's like horror comedy almost. And it was one of the first ones I did, but I had so much fun with just, trying to act like I'm persuading you to buy this obviously haunted chair. And it's only like 4 minutes long, but it's one of my favorites.
You know what? I see it here. Future me in editing. Could you put that in the description, pretty please?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, of course. So, as far as creepypastas go, how, I understand there's a lot of monsters that have grown to be very popular.
Yeah.
Like your Slender Man or your Jeff the Killer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a favorite monster?
Not really. I mean, there's this one that's intriguing to me, the Siren Head. He looks really cool, but I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, I
just love the design. It's very Silent Hill.
Yeah, I was just talking to somebody about that last night. If I remember, it's by Trevor, also known as Slimy Swamp Ghost on Twitter. Okay. That's the artist who created Siren Head.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
I remember when the Slenderman craze first hit. I think I was like 17, 16. And the reason I love horror is because I've always been an adrenaline junkie, and I like scaring myself. And so when Slenderman first happened, I remember watching Marble Hornets, reading all the Wikipedia pages, finding everything I could on this guy. And I had scared myself because it was like the more you know about him, the more likely he is to come and do whatever. Because it never says what he does with you. You just go away.
Yeah, you just vanish.
And then I was like, well, fuck it. I already know. Let's learn as much as I can. And, just...
It's too late now.
Yeah, you already knows. Fuck it. But, yeah, that was really exciting for me as a late teen who's still into ghost stories and believes in all that nonsense. And, yeah, it was fun to scare myself.
I had a rough time with, was it Jeff the Killer?
Yeah.
Because I was reading one story. It's like, well, if you learn about him, he's going to figure out where you are.
Aren't those the fucking worst?
Yeah.
Or like the Smile Dog, like the classic copy pasta, forward this to your friends.
Spread the word.
Or this motherfucker's going to get you. Sorry, can I swear here? I'm sorry.
This isn't a family-friendly show. Fucking go for it.
Uh,
Fuck no, man. This is a Christian show. This is a
I'm very sorry.
family friendly program.
I swear a lot. It's a habit I've been trying to curb, but it just happens. I mean, I worked for 6 years in a metal shop. It's just things you pick up, and
yeah, it's definitely like the company you keep can exacerbate that.
Oh, definitely.
But so, have you heard of the SCP Foundation?
I have. I was toying around with the idea of going through a series where I go one by one, like like a training video. I was gonna do like a training video for like how you handle SCP-001 as like a like a. It's still in progress because I haven't started it yet.
Yeah,
but I was gonna do sort of like the da 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 that kind of shit.
Yeah,
and then
like your kind of safety training.
Yeah, like your
video.
Yeah, like and that like sort of 50s-esque voice, like, well, whenever you're handling SCP-1001, make sure you always wear gloves and shit like that. Like,
make sure to maintain direct eye contact with SCP-173.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a great bit of audio drama. I'll have to find it and send it to you. Also, future me in editing. We both know what I'm talking about. Please put that in the description too. Pretty please? Because I think it's really cool and everybody should check it out. But it's this great bit of audio drama where it's it's people that work for the Foundation. Yeah. And they're teaching the D class, the people who are going to be these test subjects, how was it not telekinetic, but like hallucinogenic attacks can be performed on them. And it goes from like very calm and reserved, and you don't see anything. There's no visual element, but you can hear both the presenter and the audience. He's like, you'll suddenly realize that there are no exits to this room, and you hear people like, oh shit.
Like somebody smuggled in a camera into like the safety briefing sort of thing.
Yeah,
I like it.
And it like slowly gets more and more intense as the guy's voice gets like slowly distorted because all these people are undergoing this attack.
Oh man, that sounds great.
Well, like, the SCP Foundation really grabbed my attention because not only from my first exposure was like the game, the Containment Breach game.
Yeah. My first exposure was like the it was sent to me on like Facebook, and it was of bizarre creature found on the beach, and it was like that one that looks like some driftwood shaped like an alligator.
Oh yeah, the hard to kill lizard.
Yeah, hard to kill lizard. They were like new species discovered or whatever. And of course, I've always been hanging around like the darker community, but I was like, oh shit, because we're at the same time we're pulling shit out of the ocean we've never seen with that big tsunami. So I was like, oh my gosh, what a cool thing! Look at this awesome lizard. And then it was like it's been contained by the SCP Foundation, and I was like, the fuck is that?
Now, have you ever had a piece of fiction that you, like, accidentally completely fell for?
What do you mean? Like, fell for?
Like, had a moment of, like, is this real? I
don't know. It's kind of a slippery slope because, like, the creepypasta and urban legend, like, that line has been very much blurred over the years. Mm-hmm. And so, like, one of them was, like, it ended up being true, but it was, like, the Bunny Man or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. So I was like, I'm going to go up to that bridge on fucking, what was it, like Halloween? Stuff like that. Like urban legend, creepypasta. Like if I see it on like a creepypasta site, I'm not going to fall for it. But if you send it to me in like an email, like, hey, have you heard about this? This is what's going on. I might. I'm pretty gullible. I'm one of those like X-Files, I want to believe types. I'm like, oh, that's neat. If there's like enough proof like that, that'd be freaking cool. But no, to answer your question, I think the only one that really got me was like Slender Man when it first happened, because it was like the first of something like that to really hit me.
there was one that happened a couple of years ago that the
Russian sleep experiment. That's one
that
I
one
fell
too.
for.
That's a good one.
I fell for that one. And I was like,
I
whoa.
I also fell for I Feel Fantastic.
Which one's that?
The sing. Oh, I'll have to send you that one. It's a singing robot. It's horrifying, but there's a lot of quote unquote theories or facts about it where it's like, oh, it was a serial killer who made these mannequins that sing. It's like, no, this guy just wanted to make a singing mannequin. That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's his whole shtick. But the one that when it comes to humanity as a whole, like, you know, those conspiracy theories of like technology's gonna progress so far that, you know, the robots are gonna take over and all this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a firm believer in that, really. Like,
I don't know.
It's funny watching people watch the Boston Dynamics videos of like the robot walking up steps, and they're like, "Oh my god, it can walk!" And it's like it can barely move, dude.
Right.
And
yeah.
what?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm taking notes for future topics.
They had this piece of viral marketing for a show called Altered Carbon.
Oh, that's a fun show.
Yeah, well, their viral marketing was the first thing I saw, and it had nothing to mention from the show on it, is the thing. It wasn't like, check out this cool thing, but it's from Altered Carbon. This is a real thing. You can grow a synthetic body and put your consciousness into it. And they premiered this at, like, CEC, where they premiere new technologies.
Oh, kind of like the emergency news broadcasts for True Blood?
Yeah, kind of like that. But I saw it on, like I rarely check Facebook. Rarely. But, like, one of the news stories is like, oh, look, we can grow synthetic bodies now. And I had a panic attack because I'm like, great, we've accidentally discovered immortality. Awesome.
Well, I mean, you look at the shit we do and all the warning labels, and I'm pretty sure we're not a species built to last.
Yeah.
I mean, a perfect example is a Jaeger bomb. Like, on a fucking can of Red Bull, it's like, hey, do not mix this with alcohol. So, what the fuck do? We mix it with alcohol. Like, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good one.
I can't see the warning label through all the alcohol in my system.
Right? Better add some more alcohol.
I saw that viral marketing campaign, and they have, like, the fake bodies in the big bags. And I'm sitting there just like, oh no. Oh, because I was like half awake when I saw it. I had just got out of bed, so I'm like, oh no.
I'm not gonna lie, when I saw it, I kind of saw it like halfway through. It was again on one of those Facebook things, and I thought it was just like a Matrix reboot they were doing. And I was like, oh, cool, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like the bags, the hive mind. That's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. I used to have a roommate that was very much one of those conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
What if reality is a simulated construct, man? Then I just immediately was like, well, no, it's not, because this simulation sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Well, one of those fun ones that I like, and I'll get stuck in a rabbit hole about it, is what if you control your own reality? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a very narcissist conspiracy theory of like, I control the universe. And what brought it to my attention is I've encountered schizophrenics, and they do think like that. Mm-hmm. Well, they'll think, like, hey, this guy's talking to me, and he's talking to me because I told him to.
Yeah,
or he's talking to me. I thought it, and now he's talking to me. So I control the universe. And that kind of stuff is really cool until you, like, something happens, like you get a flat tire or somebody punches you in the face, and you're like, oh, man, that's not my universe.
Or you try to use the Force, and it doesn't work.
Right. But it's just fun how what kind of thoughts people can have.
Well, like, one of my old roommates, one of his buddies was like the good old-fashioned conspiracy stoner.
Oh, yeah?
And he's like, well, when you walk out of a room, man, how do you know that room still exists? I'm like, because I can just walk back into that room. It doesn't get called out like a video game. It doesn't deload everything in there.
Be like, what if it's not there when you get back? What if it's different? What if it's changed? Ooh.
Well, then I'll, collapse into a whimpering pile of protoplasm because I've deloaded too.
If you still hang out with this guy, do you? Is he your friend?
I do not still hang out with this guy.
I was about to say, if next time you hang out, like whenever he walks out of the room, just like move the coffee table. just move the coffee table a couple feet and be like, hey, what's up? Just act like nothing happened.
Just gaslight him?
Yeah, gaslight.
What are you talking about?
Gaslight your friends. Brought to you by Corporal Creepy and Fresman.
Hey, kids. Gaslight your friends. Oh, God.
Fucking A.
That's a new t-shirt design coming this holiday season.
I'll fucking buy it. Gaslight your friends.
Gaslight your friends and just a picture of, like, either you or I shrugging.
Shit, both. Why not?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I love it.
But he also tried to show me, like... He tried to show me a YouTube video, which was it was a video from, like, the early 2000s talking about, like, particle acceleration through... like the size of a pinhole or something like that. It's like, man, isn't that crazy, man? It makes you really question your reality. I'm like, sure.
Yeah, particles are small, dog. Pinholes aren't impressive.
Yeah, like
that's like putting water through like a funnel.
Yeah.
That's just how things work.
Or watching water go down the sink. Whoa!
Oh shit! Look at it. It's all going through that hole. Like,
who would have guessed?
I don't know.
So, what is your favorite unbelievable conspiracy theory?
My favorite unbelievable conspiracy theory. I've heard quite a few. There's a few weirdos where I work. And I don't know. There's I can't think of one at the moment. It's kind of like, hey, what's your favorite song? And suddenly you're retarded.
Yeah,
like, you can't think of anything. You're just like,
surprise. I had a coworker at one of my old jobs who was, and I'm quoting them. They sat down in the break room. And they were just kind of looking at the floor for a minute. They go, and they take a deep breath and go, I'm kind of on the fence about this whole flat Earth thing.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm gonna change my answer to that. There's no fucking way it's flat. We've been discussing this for almost hundreds of years now. Like, it's not flat. We got pictures from space that were produced in Hollywood. I don't give a shit the Earth is round. The fact that you can go from the Bering Strait, all right? How about that? How about that? You go from the Bering Strait over to Alaska, and it's not flat. Or you just get up on a if the world is flat, how come Alaska gets so much daytime?
No, man, it's a giant ice wall, and we're on a huge disk because that's how gravity works? ?
I'm just saying, like, I don't need anybody to prove to me, because you could just look at a sunset, and then a sunset somewhere else, and be like, oh yeah, there's something different. We're curved.
It's so.
I don't understand what basis these people are standing on that the Earth is flat. It's ignorant.
The most insane version I've heard is like the moon's round, the sun is round, every other planet is round.
Earth's flat.
Yeah, but the Earth's flat, and it's surrounded by a giant ice wall for some reason.
Why an ice wall?
Sure.
Why an ice wall?
Why can't it just be a big
rock?
Why can't it be like a big player unknown battleground force field that you get electrocuted if you walk through?
Right. It can be like the galaxy's meteor cereal bowl or something. Oh, because that wouldn't be round. I don't know. It's frustrating. It really is. My dog wants to be in the interview too, apparently.
Hello, pup, Lieutenant Pup.
Yeah, right.
I'm ballparking military ranks here.
I mean, whatever, man.
Whatever, man. You just joined cadet. I don't know.
I'll let you out in a minute. I'm doing a thing.
But I like that the flat Earth one makes me giggle to this day. Oh man, remember the Miami zombie?
That was legit. That blew my mind away. Because my little teenager self wanted nothing more than zombies. Like swine flu, I got my hopes up. Fucking bird flu, I got my hopes up. Miami, I got my hopes up. Like
I had swine flu, man.
Yeah.
Well, so it was right in the midst.
Painful?
What's that?
Was reanimating painful?
Yeah, totally. it's hard for a cursed mess to come back from the dead. But so my doctor and my dad didn't tell me until like way after, because it was right in the middle of the panic.
Yeah.
And so I was standing at the pharmacy with my dad, and my dad's getting my prescription because I just recovered being sick, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's pick up for Fresman. It's for the antibiotics for the swine flu." And I looked at my dad. I'm like, "I had the fucking swine flu. What do you mean I had the swine flu?
Where did they bite you? How'd you get it?"
Like the thing is, for me, I get sick really fast, so I didn't even know I had it. I'm like, oh, I suddenly have a fever. Yeah, I'm not feeling too hot. It's like all the especially with this pandemic, I saw a very funny photo out there where it's like, man, I spent all this time building a bunker for zombies, especially a virus-based version, and now people are dying of the virus, and they're not reanimating, so the bunker's for nothing.
I'm a level with you. I'm one of those weirdos. Like I don't.
Oh, do you have a bunker?
Well, I don't have a bunker.
Are you in the bunker?
No, I have like this supply I keep up with, but I prep for things that are probably gonna happen, like maybe a blackout. I live in Texas, so like floods and tornadoes. I got like sandbags and food and stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so like they're like, oh, nobody's allowed to go outside, and I was like, well, I have so much fucking food. I think we're gonna make it.
Well, that was my favorite part of like, all right, they're giving the order to stay indoors. I'm like, I don't go outside.
Right? You just see my fingers come through the blinds, and I'm like, all right, and go back in.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I was joking with my brother about that. I'm like, we don't go outside. What, what's gonna change?
Right? And then suddenly everybody wants to be outside.
Yeah, now that we're told to go inside, now I want to go on spring break. It's, well, like, what kills me is they're, like, this, I hope this will be old news by the time this episode comes out, because it'll be a little bit before this comes out. But there are protests going on, and the minute I heard that, and it's like, oh, it's right downtown, which I don't live too far from downtown. And I'm just like, guess what? Still not leaving the house. Not going outside, not gonna deal with that.
Yeah.
Gonna stay here.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. And like I've been talking to other people who are like weekly creeps.
Yeah.
Like I was on the phone with him the other day, and he's like, "Huh, I can see like an orange glow in the distance." I'm like, "Oh no, that's no good." But I like back on the topic of conspiracy theories. What are some that you believe?
I mean, it's kind of not as much a conspiracy anymore since the government leaked some shit.
Uh-oh.
But it was like the aliens. I was like, mathematically, it's impossible for us to be the only ones.
Hmm.
I mean, we probably won't encounter them. They probably won't encounter us, but they're out there. That was always my thought on it.
Sure.
And things like sea monsters and stuff, I'm like, we're discovering new stuff every day in the oceans. It just makes sense that there's more that we don't know about.
Hmm.
You know, those are always the ones that have been like kind of conspiracy theories, more like cryptids. But I've been like, yeah, I get behind those. I believe in them.
I'm very picky when it comes to cryptids.
Yeah.
Like
Bigfoot, I'm kind of like, probably not. Just because, I mean, even if there was a Bigfoot, that we're talking about a species that lives like where people live. And we see them all the damn time, but we never see a mate. We never find like a den. We never, even if it's nomadic, I mean, we never see young ones running around. And just for like one species to have like one member, I don't think it's going to live as long as we want it to, especially being a mammal.
Well, that, and especially with how long the conspiracy's been going on, like,
Since
probably
like the
dead.
1910s or some shit.
Yeah,
like,
it's probably dead by now.
Yeah, probably.
But because it's a large mammal, and those don't last too long.
No, they really don't. I mean, sadly.
But
now, if it was like a tortoise cryptid, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's centuries old.
Yeah, have Nessie.
Yeah, Nessie's a reptile, so I don't know. It just depends on the. Because
Well,
I mean,
like,
they're
what-
talking
what
about being a
kills-
plesiosaur. We don't know the average lifespan of a plesiosaur.
Well, what kills me about, like, it's specifically the Bigfoot one is all the Bigfoot hunting shows.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, oh, we're gonna do a Bigfoot call, and they're like, whoo!
My God, you know what you just reminded me of?
Uh-oh.
Sheep squatch. What in the cousin fucking crystal meth is a sheep squatch?
So, have you ever played Fallout 76?
Unfortunately.
That's why I started laughing, because I'm like, I fought one last night, I think.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I threw a Molotov cocktail at Bigfoot in Red Dead Redemption, but...
Me too, man. Me too.
He was like, I'm the last of my kind. And I'm like, you shall join them in Valhalla.
I love, like, specifically for Rockstar games when it comes to cryptids, how much they're willing to go out of their way just to fuck with people.
Oh, yeah. Because, like, the Bigfoot thing was kind of like a jab at people saying he was in St. Andreas.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my teenage self, like, roaming the hills of wherever that was in the boonies, trying to find that motherfucker.
Well, even then in GTA 5, there's a mission where you can find a guy in a Sasquatch costume.
Yeah.
And then you can also see him through a sniper scope during one of the missions.
Oh, fun.
But he just, like, he blips out of existence when you zoom in on him.
But, like, as far as, like, actual conspiracy theories, I mean, there's some that I'm just like, maybe, but there's not any that I'm like, I'm 100% down for.
Mm-hmm.
Like my aunt, she was really into the whole two-shooter thing with JFK.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, nah, we got the guy. But I don't know, the angles were kind of weird. Maybe it was too, but there's not, like, concrete proof to, like, persuade me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Whereas, like, with his arrest, we had the rifle, we had the cartridges, we had him.
Have you seen 11/22/63?
I started it. I haven't finished it. I'm more of a reader. So, like, I'm trying to get through. Let me look back at my bookshelf, see which one has the tag sticking out of it. Right now I'm trying to finish one called Seven Spires, which was an author I met on Twitter, actually. I'm also reading Rainbow Six and The Sparrow, or Red Sparrow. And then I have 11/22/63 on the shelf for, like, next. My to-read list is too long.
I like how my blind guess yielded results.
Yeah.
But I've recently been picking up Stephen King myself.
Oh, my mom got me started on him. Like I remember like one of my first horror movies, other than Friday or Nightmare on Elm Street, was Cujo. And my mom is an avid Stephen King fan, so she like collected paperbacks. So like one of the first books I read was The Dark Tower Gunslinger. And after that, it was like Cujo, Salem's Lot, Mystic River, and just I still read his stuff today. I just finished one called The Long Walk, which is really, really cool. I'd recommend it. I don't want to give anything away because, of course, it's a thriller and everything's kind of a clue. But, yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned The Dark Tower because I recently started that. Well, with when it comes to, there's a way to word it. So you know how the Marvel movies are all connected? So, I am a sponge for that kind of information, where connections are made, all that sort of thing. And so, then there's The Dark Tower, which, let's keep your recording going. Let's hold for just a second. There might be some dogs barking here momentarily. Apologies for the hubbub. Alright. Cool.
Sorry for the cough.
That's okay.
I have a terrible habit, and it causes me to cough every so often.
Alright, and future mean editing, and we're back. Sorry for your ears if that blew out your eardrums.
Oh, no, that's fine.
So back on the topic of the Dark Tower, so I'm a sponge for information. I love learning all the connections. But when it comes to the Dark Tower, and it's like 20 plus years of lore.
Oh, yeah.
And I recently also made that same mistake with Warhammer.
Yeah. Well, really with like Warhammer, I just like I don't know. I play 2 tabletop games. I play Coriolis, which is like a space fantasy adventure. Runs off the D6 system. It's from some people in Norway. And, of course, D&D. But, like, Warhammer really intrigues me with, like, its premise and everything. I just love the art and the aesthetic more than anything. I'm not into the lore of it.
Yeah, and I...
Aesthetic? Aesthetic? I don't know.
Well, like, with the Dark Tower, like, learning that there are connections to
everything.
Everything. It's, like, the pillars of reality itself stem from the Dark Tower and expand out into the greater, universe. And,
well, it's like the deal with the Dark Tower is it's the hub of all the Stephen King lore. And you learn things about, like, it and the magic space turtle and how even some things like Christine and Cujo and Carrie somehow being involved in all this, and like the Shine becomes a big deal because it's not just Danny and Jack and Halloran from the Shining series. I said Jack, I meant older Danny. I just got through reading Dr. Sleep. That's just how I imagine him. But like people like Carrie had a type of the Shine, or the girl from Firestarter. Like the Shine's like an overarching thing to where like I don't know, it's very complicated. I invite you to jump down that rabbit hole. I hope you have a good time in there.
I have been. I'm on the 3rd Dark Tower book. I also read Green Mile. But
John Coffey had the Shine.
Yeah, but the issue I have is now all of that information is in my head forever.
Oh yeah, and he's really smart about it because it will allude to certain things in the Dark Tower series, and you're like, I want to know more about that. So then you read Needful Things, and then you come back to like where you were in Dark Tower, and they'll reference something else. You're like, oh shit, that was pretty cool. So you go out and read Mystic River or Stand By Me, and you know what I mean? Or you watch Stand By Me because you're a lazy schmuck like me, and every now and then you'll take a shortcut.
Well, like with so there's that show Castle Rock, which it's sort of taking that weird Dark Tower direction, where it's also creating a web of
because it's connected directly with Shawshank.
Well, Shawshank, and then there's mention of Derry, and then there's the niece of Jack Torrance from The Shining.
Mm-hmm. Is it Jack? Yeah, it's Jack's niece.
Yeah, and then was it 11/22/63? There's a character who is driving Christine.
Yeah, like all of his stories are interconnected. I don't know how this man does it, but he's made this huge, vast universe for people to jump into, to learn the lore, and I don't know. I think it's fucking great.
Well, even in the what's it called? The smaller connective tissues, like Gerald's Game. Have you seen the film adaptation of Gerald's Game?
And it kind of makes me. I was raised kind of conservative. So like certain sexual themes just make me uncomfortable to watch.
Sure.
So I saw the trailer on Netflix. Now I was like, maybe, but like,
trust me.
But like The Grass, I'll watch. And now oh man, I just got something in my head. Like, what if he tries incorporating his son's work into that universe too, or his son takes over the universe?
Well, so Gerald's Game, what you see in the trailer, is the smallest plot point that doesn't have any real bearing on the rest of it.
I thought it was kind of like that Ryan Reynolds movie that all took place in a box. I'm like, I don't want to watch 2 hours of this. This looks like hell.
Yeah, buried. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is a couple of stellar references that are made where so the main focal point of Gerald's Game is an eclipse that occurs when the main character was a kid, and something happens to that main character when she's a kid, but apparently she also dreamt of somebody throwing their husband down a well, which is Dolores Claiborne.
Yeah. Why does that name sound familiar?
She dreamt it being at the bottom of that well.
Hey, shut your mouth. Hey, do you mind if we take a quick break?
I'm sorry, jeez.
Do you mind if we take a quick break? My dog's telling me she's got to go outside.
Sure thing. And you keep your recording going, and I'll edit it out the dead air.
Okay, it won't take me too long. I'll be right back.
Sure thing.
Why are you so annoying? I love you, but Jesus.
I'm sorry. Do up, do 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 up, do 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 up. Great waveform, right, future me?
I'm back.
Alrighty. And once more, we're back on the air.
Go team.
Alright. So, we were discussing connections, right, in the Stephen King verse.
I don't even know what you call it. Just a fucking... I think
the
universe is too small to talk about like his everything.
Or maybe just the tower and the beams.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so much. Like, I'm even picking up, because I read the Dark Tower series, and I'm even picking up from, like, his short stories, like the collection of them, Bizarre of Bad Dreams, that tie into other novels, that tie into the Dark Tower series, which connects them to more novels. And, you know?
Well, what was it? Well, if I remember, it wasn't in the book adaptation, but it was added into the film adaptation of Gerald's Game. But there is a direct Dark Tower reference.
Probably to cross-promote. So that's about the time the movie came out, wasn't it?
I think it came out... the Dark Tower movie was 2017? And I want to say Gerald... Oh, never mind. Gerald's Game was 2017 as well. It's been that long?
I'm a Stephen King nerd. I'm like a mega nerd, dude. There's like so much stuff like that I just like nerd out over.
Well, like there's a moment where Gerald just straight up says, "All things serve the beam."
Ugh. And that wasn't in the book. That was just ad-libbed. That's gross. That ties a whole nother rat's nest to this.
Mm-hmm. And I'd say a quarter way into the third book. I recently moved house, so I have no clue where any of my books are. But I've been trying to pick them up as I go along. I go to a lot of thrift stores, and I find a lot of Stephen King books there.
Yeah, that's a good place to get them. That's what me and my mom used to do is we'd go to like used bookstores because, like I said, she collected them. So like if there was a paperback with a different print, if there was like a first edition, if it had a different cover, like we had to have it.
Mm-hmm.
So if it was, and there would be subtle differences between each edition. So like I don't know. So like the very first rendition of Stephen King's It,
yeah,
I know was like, I think it was like 20 pages longer than the one that came out after the movie. Don't cite me on that, but I know there were differences.
Future me, figure out if Corporal Creepy's wrong, and then just plaster it on the screen if you can.
Oh, thanks, dog. I appreciate that.
You got this, future me. I have a controversial question for you.
Okay.
Who's the better Pennywise, Tim Curry or Bill Skarsgård?
Boy, I have no idea. That is pretty it just depends on what you're into. Like, if you find... Like, I love Tim Curry to death. And he was definitely a more entertaining Pennywise. Yeah. But Bill Skarsgård's definitely more intimidating and scary Pennywise, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And they're able to do things now that they just couldn't then. And to be fair, that miniseries... wasn't exactly what King had in mind. Neither is the current movie. The current movie is closer, but neither is the current movie. He made another miniseries himself, but like it's very hard for him for his works to go to film and retain what they do in writing.
Yeah, especially with how detailed he is in his exposition.
Mm-hmm. It's not quite Tolkien-esque, but it's very descriptive.
Well, I think for those who haven't jumped into a lot of Stephen King stories, the Dark Tower is where I've read a couple of Stephen King books, but just throughout the years, but like only recently have I jumped headfirst into the rabbit hole.
And like it's crazy to like compare the books and the movies. And my favorite example of this is The Shining. Like, if you read I prefer the book. Like, if you read the book and then watch the movie is essentially Stanley Kubrick just doing what the fuck he wants and using that as a Stephen King's Shining as a reference point.
Mm.
And that's why I was nervous when Dr. Sleep came out, because I was like, oh no, how are they going to do this if they wanted to be true to Stephen King's work? Like, how's it going to be? Is it going to be more book faithful? Is it going to be more movie faithful? And it turned out to be a weird amalgamation of both that I think played out perfectly.
I haven't had the chance to see Dr. Sleep yet.
I recommend it, dude. It's a really good movie.
But
like even with like the very first shot of Stanley Kubrick's Shining. In the book, is definitely a red Volkswagen. The movie immediately starts with a yellow one. And I'm not sure if that's just spite, or maybe they couldn't find a red one, but like there's just differences like all over the place.
Well, with like I started my rabbit hole journey with the Dark Tower because I heard that was the sort of like the focal point that you can then go out on this huge spider web of the beams, you know?
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, I'll retract my statement as we go on, but the first, like, couple chapters are maddening because they're just exposition, but it starts to make sense as the story goes on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I hear you.
Well, like how there's entire pages dedicated to the gunslinger wandering the wastes and then finding, a smoldering campfire, but the sticks are laid in this cross-hatched pattern in a very specific layout. And I was listening to the audiobook version of just the first book because I was working full time at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, who gives a shit about if they're cross-hatched? Because they hadn't introduced the Man in Black and how meticulous and, how much he plans everything out and all this. So I'm like, who gives a shit about the stick layout of a fireplace? And then you learn more about the Man in Black and the resurrection in Tull and, that whole conversion of that town. And it's like, oh, it all makes sense now.
Oh, yeah.
All of it.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Roland might be my favorite Stephen King protagonist because he's A, kind of a terrible person, and B, he's not invincible in the slightest.
I think my favorite would have to be Danny. From Danny Torrance. Because he's another one of those, I definitely have my faults and my problems and stuff, and I'm not the super strong focal point. Because like in the Doctor Sleep, Abra is like so much stronger than he is. She's the little girl, and he's just trying to help her, but he's the main protagonist. He's doing what he can as an adult with, some of the shine that he hasn't been using all the way because, he's repressed it with alcohol and stuff to stop seeing, visions of his past and his father hunting him still. And Abra's just like from across the United States, just boom, talking to him in his head. And he's like, what the shit? Like even I had to be within spitting distance of Holleran to do that. And so it's really cool. And that was when she was like an infant. Or not an infant, but like a child, like a even younger child, like 2 or 3. And so it's really crazy.
Do you know who's another great character from the Dark Tower?
Idris Elba.
Sure.
Sorry, I just have a man crush for the guy.
I do too, even though...
Every time I see him, I'm like, I wish I looked that fucking good.
well, so after reading The Gunslinger... And then also reading, what was the... Oh no, Drawing of 3, the second one. After you meet Detta and Odetta Holmes, and there's that whole plot point about Roland being white.
Yeah.
Like, I saw that, and I'm like, why is Idris Elba playing Roland if that's the case?
Because he's fucking handsome.
Sure.
Oh no!
But it's a major plot point that
Well, maybe they can reverse that, and you know what? Let's just not do that. Our country's not ready for that. Why are you barking? Shut your mouth!
Just like.
No, I thought about that, and as the words left my mouth, I was like, "That's a terrible idea."
Why don't they reverse? Oh.
Yeah, we can't do that.
I love there's certain things about, I love, like I mentioned before, Roland isn't an invincible, Ubermensch.
Yeah.
he's not the coolest badass dude. He's badass, don't get me wrong, but when he's killing the people of Tull, he's getting his ass handed to him at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's what makes a believable hero. I mean, if you wanted to watch Superman, you'd watch Superman. If you wanted to watch Batman, that's something else, right?
Mm-hmm. And then, was it Drawing a 3 starts with him losing, like, 2 of his fingers? It's like, oh, shit, how's that gonna go? Ugh. But, the character I was, asking about earlier is, Eddie Dean.
Eddie Dean. It's been a while.
He's the, during the Drawing of 3, he's the recovering, like, drug addict that he picks up.
Yes.
Like, he's... What's that?
Yeah, he's addicted to heroin.
Yeah, him and Roland fight that drug kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
But that... Like, I love Eddie throughout Drawing of 3 and into, I think I'm in Song of Susanna, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Not Song of Susanna. It's like Wizard in the Glass or something. But he's just this weirdo, and he's desperately trying to figure everything out. And then, like, it goes from, like, he almost kills Roland several times to, like, becoming his best friend.
Oh, yeah. Well, I kind of identified with that whenever I read it, because that's how me and my friends were, at least whenever I was in high school. Like, I cannot count how many times me and my friends would just beat the shit out of each other over, like, an argument. And we'd both be sitting there panting, bloodied, and bruised, like, you good? Yeah, I'm good. I'm like...
Well, for a second there, I'm like, you mean one of your friends pulled you through a doorway that was on a beach, and then now you're in a world that the... you're in a place where the world has moved on, and now you're surviving lobstrosities on the beach?
No. I'm just talking about the kicking each other's ass kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's believable, you know. That's what makes a good character, is they have to be believable. They have to have thoughts. Nobody wants the perfect. I mean, how bored would you be? That's a sacrilegious statement. I'm not sure if I should say that. But like, if you were to read like a Stephen King book centered around a perfect being that was almost like Jesus, just no faults, kind to everyone, you know, just absolutely nothing wrong with him. It'd be kind of dull to watch, right? You couldn't connect with that character because you're not like that.
Yeah.
But like, if you ever I had a spell where I would consider myself like dependent on alcohol. I beat it. I got out of it because I knew it was getting me down nowhere fast. And so I can connect with those alcoholic characters because I know what they're going through. I've seen that. I've lived that. I understand the struggle. And it's something I can connect with. I think we spent like 40 minutes talking about Stephen King alone.
Maybe. Damn well might be. So what is your favorite character archetype?
I like anti-heroes. I really do. Like, they're kind of shitty people, but they still do good things. It's kind of like my favorite superhero is Wolverine. Because he's like, I'm going to do it all myself, and I'm a grumpy-ass dude, and I'm gonna go get drunk and fight in a bar, and then they're like, oh, we need to do the good thing to save the world, and he's like, nah, I guess I'll fucking help.
Well, like, even in the comics, like, he's this gruff, mean bastard some of the time, and then the minute somebody needs any kind of help...
He helps them.
In the X-Mansion, he's, like, totally down.
Oh, yeah. He's like a big softie, but he hides behind this, like, crunchy exterior. That's...
My favorite's the kind of... The unwilling hero.
Yeah.
Like... So, have you ever heard of the game Prey? Not the new one, but the one from like 2007.
No, I didn't play that one, unfortunately.
So what was it? There's a descriptor that they used for the main character, and it was like Tommy. The main character's name was Tommy. It's like Tommy's the savior of humanity that didn't want the job.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of an example that I've heard of. I don't know.
like your Isaac Clarke from Dead Space.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go save my wife. Oh shit, everything's going to fuck. Oh my god, help.
Hey, my girlfriend's on the ship, and then everybody else is like, are you sure your girlfriend's on this ship?
Right.
And then, like, I've brought this up before to a couple of people, but there's something specifically about Isaac Clarke that I love dearly, and it's that he takes a break.
Yeah. Or I just thought of one, kind of like Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like he didn't show up and was like, I'm the leader now. It was just kind of thrown upon him.
They're like, well, he's
quality.
a cop, so I guess.
Well, he had that leadership quality, and people are like, well, we'll listen to him. He's got sound decision making. And he's like, oh, all right, I guess.
He's got a cool hat and a gun.
Yeah, and he's not so great at high fives, but, I mean, it's something. I'd say spoiler alert, but I'm pretty sure all the like mainstream guys have like stopped watching or reading.
So I haven't kept up on The Walking Dead. Don't worry about spoilers for me.
Yeah. I stopped after the Negan arc because I really liked Negan as a villain. Because I'm like, he's brutal, but he has a purpose for it. You know, the best villains are always the ones that thinking they're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I liked about Negan. That and he was just, I mean, he made all the other villains kind of look soft.
Mm. Well, like what killed me was like I think it was just in the structure of the show where the meeting with Negan takes place and you lose a couple characters, and then the rest of the season's like, we're gonna kill that motherfucker. Ooh, we're gonna kill that motherfucker. And then like the end of the season's like, we're gonna go get him, and then the season ends.
Yeah, that's what killed me about it. Is it became a lot more drama than I was anticipating. Because whenever it first started, it was borderline action horror, which I thought was very fun with like some dramatic elements. Why was my chair falling? But yeah, and then like as you go further on, it just less zombies, more talking, and then it became that substantially. So like they throw in one here and there just to keep you from just keep you sitting there, but that's about it.
Well, even then, like almost every episode, you have a character who forgets what a zombie is.
Right.
Because they're like walking a forest and you hear like in the distance. They're like, "What's that?" It's like, it's probably a fucking walker. It's been like 6 years.
Could that be a deer? You want to go see a deer?
Is that a possum? And like, even if they find a walker like tied to a tree, they're like, "Oh my god, that's so horrible." Like, just the procedure, put it down. And like, so he's gone now, thankfully. But I had a character in The Walking Dead that I hated more than any other character.
Oh, the one I disliked was immediately killed off, so I was okay with that. Well, not immediately.
Who was it?
Merle. I was like, fucking racist piece of shit. Fuck that guy. And then he like cuts his hand off and runs out. And I'm like, fuck him. That's what he gets. Then you find him later on, and I'm like, what the shit? He's still alive? And then they kill him, and I'm like, yay!
Finally.
Catharsis.
One of my least favorite characters is one of the good guys.
Oh yeah, which one?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Wonderful party people at home. Here's your spoiler warning. If it's not too late now, Carl. I fucking hate Carl. So here's the thing. I like to look at like those apocalypse movies or Fallout or anything like that through sort of a practical lens.
Yeah, that's why I'm such a big fan of like Mad Max and New Vegas.
Yeah, but when it comes to Carl, especially that whole Herschel's farm arc, and it's like, Carl, stay in the fucking house. There are zombies out here. Stay in the house. And he's like, I'm gonna go walk into the forest. And it's like, oh my god.
That's what the fuck you get, Coral.
And then he continues to do it up until he loses an eye. It's great.
Maybe Coral should stay inside. I don't know why he's talking in a third person.
Well, they're like, Carl, stay here. Don't hang out with that edgy teenager over there, even though she consistently puts herself and the lives of everybody in this community in danger by exposing a huge flaw in our security system.
Yeah.
But just don't hang out with her. And then Carl's like, I'm going into the woods with her.
Yeah, she's pretty hot. I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah, and the minute his eye got blown out, I'm like, fuck yeah, he's dead. And then he survived. I'm like, God damn it.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
And I stopped watching after that season, after that teaser of like, we're gonna go get Negan. I'm like, oh, I'm done. I can't do it anymore.
I don't know.
And then fortunately, I don't have to look up spoilers. Twitter will do it for me.
Right?
They're like, oh, rest in peace, Carl. And then there's like a full, like they put out the full scene. Like AMC themselves put out the whole scene on Twitter.
Why?
And the whole time.
Why would you do that?
The whole time he's like, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm like, good. Finally.
I told you to stay inside. I just couldn't. The wilderness, it calls to me.
Dad, I had to go hang out in the woods, either alone or with edgy teenager.
I don't know why I don't know, Dad. Like, I just imagine him as Bobby Hill with an eye patch.
I'm okay, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. Oh no, he got shot. I'm okay, Dad.
That hurts, Dad. Okay. I just, like, but the minute I heard he was gone, I'm like, finally, everybody's safe.
Right.
Have you played any of the Resident Evil games?
I played the new Biohazard one, like the one with like the house and the creepy family. That one was fun.
7?
Yeah, that one was fun and spooky. And then I played 5, and that one was just fun and goofy. So I liked it, like a B movie almost. I enjoyed it. And then I played Operation Raccoon City, and I just like tactical shooters, so that was a blast and a half for me. My friends were like, "No, it's scary. I don't like it." It's fun. It's just not what you expected.
Well, even then, it's like the whole premise to Operation Raccoon City is like, what if, like, Resident Evil 2 and 3 happened, but Leon died? It's like, oh.
Well, I liked it because it was like, I'm the cleanup crew.
Like, yeah. But, so, there's a character that's reviled in that series.
Yeah. And
thankfully, he only makes it to Resident Evil 3. And it's Brad Vickers. So, have you seen any of the first game?
I tried to play it when I was younger, but like I said, I'm skittish. So I was like, "Oh, 3 spooky, 5 me," when the dogs came through the window, and that was about the end of it.
Well, at the beginning, there's some stellar voice acting when the helicopter takes off. Chris is like, "Wait, don't go!" and Brad Vickers is driving that helicopter. He's running away.
Oh.
And it makes sense because all the stars team members are color coded. So like, Jill's blue, Chris is green, Wesker's blue, more like a navy blue again. But then Brad's is a bright yellow, yellow bellied.
What was this thing?
And I was playing the Resident
acting,
Evil,
and I just immediately thought, "Oh, you were almost a Jill sandwich."
Exactly. There must be a back door somewhere. Maybe we can try to find it first. Just a moment.
I'm like, bro, I'm an amateur voice actor. I don't have any paid roles, and I'm pretty sure I could have done a better job of that.
It's a weapon. It's really powerful, especially against living things.
Most are.
what I find funny is he gives that whole speech about a weapon, and he doesn't even give you a weapon. He gives you ammunition for a gun you don't even have.
Oh, it's always the worst in those games.
But like Brad shows up in Resident Evil 3 and like gets killed off immediately.
Yeah.
And since RE3 got remade recently, and I got to play it the minute I saw Nemesis, I'm like, Brad's gonna die again! Yes!
Yeah, fuck you, Brad!
And, like, the minute he shows up, he's Brad! Brad!
It's not even saying stars anymore, just Brad.
Brad!
How'd you feel about the movies? They're not good, but I still watched all of them.
The thing, like, I'm trying to piece it together here. So there are redeeming qualities to like the first three.
Yeah.
Because one takes place primarily in a mansion, which is kind of echoes the first game, but then it goes down into the Hive, which is a huge laboratory and whatnot. But then Apocalypse is just a straight up rip of like RE3 with Nemesis.
Yeah.
And what I love is that like the original version of Nemesis, like the Nemesis voice, is actually very threatening because it's this barely discernible like gurgle, just like this. But then you play Operation Raccoon City where it's like stars. It's like, oh, great, cool. And I like how I like how Nemesis looked. I didn't like the big fist fight at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But then what was it? It wasn't Extinction. Was it Afterlife? Question mark. That had the Wesker fight from RE5 in it. Just straight up stolen.
I don't know. I didn't see Chris Redfield punch a giant boulder, so it's not the same.
Chris! Complete global saturation.
I just fucking loved, like, I'm in a quick time event. It's like, punch the boulder. And I'm like, that's what we've become. Like, I want to move this 100-ton boulder. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Me, Chris Redfield.
But then he does, and you're like, all right.
My fucking Gears of War level of muscles.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the final. So, I gave up on that film series when they killed off my favorite Resident Evil character.
Oh, who was your favorite?
Barry.
Barry?
Yeah, from the first one. Mr. Jill Sandwich.
Yeah.
But they like... The thing is, like, the actor they got to play him would have been okay if they wrote Barry better in that movie.
Yeah.
Because he's like somebody's dad in the game series.
Yes.
He's kind of a goofball. He's like not making a joke out of everything, but he's trying to like keep himself calm.
Yeah.
You know? But then you get to the movie and he's like, "Well, guns!" It's like, shit. And then he pulls out the Python, the giant revolver, which has been a staple and sort of a joke of his character throughout the whole series, and then he gets shot and dies. I'm like, yeah, Barry, blam, 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 dead. Who's like, oh. Why must it be so? Also, they completely forgot about the ending plotline to so for Resident Evil the Final Chapter, they forgot about like the ending to the previous movie.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember that ending where like Wesker and Jill and Claire and like a whole bunch of people are standing on top of like the White House because Wesker's the president?
Yeah.
Question mark.
What the fuck? I just remember like all the fucking like centuries and shit. And
yeah.
Like, oh, dude.
And then the next movie, Alice is like, yeah, they're all dead, and she's just driving a motorcycle through the desert. Don't you love it when they can't figure out how to write a story?
When they just like that looked really epic. I was like, man, I can't wait to see what happens with this. And then we don't get to see what happens with this.
Yeah, and then it's just narration by Alice going, yeah, they're all dead. All of them. All of them.
Mm-hmm.
Great, cool. What happened? Not going to talk about it? Okay. We're just going to act like it didn't happen?
Right.
Sure.
That's always a sad thing, like circling back to Stephen King, like there's never a moment of, oh, that didn't happen. There's very few retcons. That's the word I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like
either
go ahead.
What was it? I was gonna say either it did happen or the person who witnessed it was under the influence of something, and then somebody else saw that person.
Right.
Well, wasn't it Needful Things where Pennywise straight up shows up for one page?
I can't remember. I was 13 when I read that.
I was told about it. Like a couple of characters are driving through Derry, and one of the characters goes, "Now I'm not sure, but I think I just saw a clown in the gutter over there."
Look at that fucking clown.
There's just a fucking clown.
I'd have to reread it. That book is large, though.
I think I have Needful Things. I also have Misery, which I need to catch up on.
Yeah.
I also have From a Buick 8.
Misery was like my first introduction to like one of my favorite actresses. It was like Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
She's just so good.
Well, she like even if it's a silly role, she puts her all into
Hell
it,
yeah.
man.
Like if it's like so my unpopular opinion of the day is Roanoke was my favorite season of American Horror Story. And I liked her like, oh, well, I'm doing this for the show. And then it's like behind the scenes. She's like, yeah, I was just doing this because I'm an actress and they paid me to. Like, it was a very meta season.
Yeah.
And it was fun and it was cool. I just really like Kathy Bates. Her tweets are weird. But she's cool.
So, you mentioned American Horror Story.
Yeah. They don't try to. I can't get in the same rabbit hole there because I've only seen a couple of them.
Now I'm not converting and like I'm not even turning you away from it. There are parts in that show that I would consider tone deaf.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, have you seen Cult?
Yeah, that's one of the ones I've seen.
Where it literally starts with Trump getting elected and like the emotional toll that's taking on everybody.
Yeah, I'm like that's a little bit out there, but I was willing to see them through. I was like, Freak Show was really good.
Yeah, Freak Show is great.
Asylum was okay, but it hit me in the feels because I had that tie-in with like one of the pinheads from Freak Show.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh my feelings! How dare you! And then
wasn't God, was it Freak Show? No, it wasn't Freak Show. It was you know the what's her name?
Just give me a description. I don't know who you're talking about. Like bearded lady? What are we talking about?
No, not Kathy Bates. It's like Christina Lang or Lange.
Is she like the main one with not to be shitty, but the long faced one? She was the 2-headed girl in Freak Show.
No, that's Sarah Paulson. Oh, for God's sake! I remembered her name the other day because I saw her in a movie. Oh my god.
I don't like Sarah Paulson.
I'm okay.
Like, she's not my favorite. She's just...
Oh yeah, Jessica Lange. I'm
gonna Google that so that I know what we're talking about.
The head nun from Asylum.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, you know how...
Damn, looking good ending... for 71.
Yeah. But you know her ending with, like, Lady Death showing up in Asylum? When she's, like, at home surrounded by, like, her friends and, like... I don't think it's her grandkids, but, like, her friends' kids.
Yeah.
That got me square in the feels, and also when she, in Freak Show, had that, like, final performance up on stage.
Yeah.
And that got me square in the chest.
And I think the hardest was the Pinhead one for me. When you find out, like, she, like, passed away in the asylum and was treated like shit after... being separated from her twin who died, and I'm just like, like,
not like this.
Excessive sobbing.
Mm-hmm.
But Jessica Lange is cool. I do not like Sarah Paulson. You said her name was?
Yeah.
I just feel like she comes off as whiny and everything, and it just gets on my nerves.
Like, somebody brought up a point where it's like she seems to have the same thing to do in each season, which is cry.
Well, being typecast is a terrible, terrible thing. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, the best example of that everyone knows is John Wayne or Sean Connery. They didn't have different roles. They were John Wayne or Sean Connery in that scene.
I mean, who else is going to play Genghis Khan?
Right? But, like, fucking... But, like, you look at League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and you look at James Bond, and they're the same character. I mean, you go to... you look up, what's that one where it's, like, based on World War II? I forget what it was. I mean, look at Sahara and look at Big Jake. They're the same guy. Mm-hmm. And I understand it's something that's hard for actors, because once they put out that performance, they're like, we like that performance. We're going to cast you for this role and this role only. But at the same time, like, it's got to be kind of up to you to break that mold.
Yeah.
Like, because I've firmly gathered from American Horror Story, it's a very close-knit group. And I feel like each of them have a say. So if they're like, hey, I want to do it like this. Or I want to play this role. Like, they'd totally be like, yeah, sure. Absolutely. But I feel like Sarah Paulson's like, I can cry on cue. And they just cash in on that.
Cool. Do it.
Do it. Cry right now. You won't.
The American Horror Story gave me a newfound respect for an actress who's not normally an actress, or at least at the time wasn't. It gave me a newfound respect for Lady Gaga.
Yeah, like, well, I've always said Lady Gaga falls in that Marilyn Manson sort of role with me, as, like, I feel like their music's okay, but where they really stand out is their performance.
Well, it wasn't just that. Like, so, hear me out. I'm going to defend myself here.
Okay.
So you know her character in, like, Hotel?
The, like, vampire lady?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't like Hotel.
So, like, but there's a moment later on in that season that, like, completely switched my opinion, because before it was like, oh, she just... My opinion of her up to that point was like, oh, she's just being weird for the sake of being weird.
Yeah, because she's a monster lady or something. Like,
yeah, it's something rather, like, yeah, like not only just for the show, but for, like, her, you know, like the meat dress and how, you know.
Yeah, because she's a performer. She likes shock performance.
Yeah, and so, like, for the longest time, I'm like, okay, is that it? But I've come to sort of appreciate actors in horror movies and horror shows, because there's a lot that goes into certain aspects of those characters. So when her character gets shot and she's, like, screaming and covered in blood, I'm like, okay, she's actually going for it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sold. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that you're
And
like analyzing, writing notes. Like, this is how a reasonable person would act to being shot.
well, not only that, it's like, man, she had to go for it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what sold me. I'm like, she's actually putting the effort in. It's not like, ooh, I've been shot. She's like screeching and crying. I'm like, oh shit, this is actually hard to watch.
Oh yeah.
But like it like that's what turned my opinion around on her, at least.
And I respect your opinion on that. But Sarah Paulson.
Have you seen Apocalypse?
I started to. And I don't know if it was just the setup that was too slow, but I was like, I kept falling asleep. And like, I feel like if you're watching a thriller or horror type thing, that shouldn't be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's why I don't like Underworld so much. Like, I could never get through that subway scene at the beginning. Like, yeah, it's all high action and high impact energy, but it feels hollow. And then I end up falling asleep in the subway scene.
Mm-hmm. Like, one of the series mainstays for American Horror Story, Evan Peters.
Mm-hmm.
There's a moment. It's one of the episodes in Apocalypse where he plays like 4 different characters.
Yeah, he is amazing as far as like an actor in that series, American Horror Story. Because I'm just looking up like fuck.
I want to see him in other stuff, man.
I do too, but like, let me look through American Horror Stories. Like, can I find like characters? Can y'all give me some characters?
I'm staring down the cast.
Yeah, it brings up the cast, and then I click him, and it just brings up American Horror Story again. But I'm like, look at the differences in all the roles he's played. Like, the guy from Cult is not anything like the pretend ghost in Roanoke, which is not anything like his role in Freak Show, I just feel, or in Asylum. Like, all of his roles are very different, and he's able to meld himself and fit to that, whatever they need from him.
I love how, like, stuff in Asylum gets so strange that the minute it's like, yeah, my wife was abducted by aliens, you're like, okay.
Yeah. You're just accepting of it.
Sure, man. Yeah.
It's kind of like fucking... What was that I joke about, like, with Tiger King? Because everybody's seen Tiger King at the height of the quarantine that nothing else was on. But, like, I watched it a couple times just while I'm watching, showing my friends. And after you've seen it once, at the beginning doesn't look all that bad. You're like, this is borderline normal. And so, like, at the beginning, where like, what initially drawed me in, like, this guy's fucking crazy. Like, by the end of it, you're like, you know what? That wasn't so bad. I'm like, that's okay. Like...
Well, I've started watching Tiger King. I haven't finished it, but there's something in the way of its presentation that I love to death, which is it'll make it'll introduce a subject, make them seem sane for maybe 10 minutes,
and then they let them talk, and you're like, oh man, this guy's fucking batshit.
Well, not only do they let them talk, but they let the people around that person talk.
Yeah.
Like, what's the name of that one Tiger Master who he's got like the harem of like 5 wives?
Oh, Doc Antle.
Yeah. So the minute when they first show him, he's like, yeah, Joe Exotic's not doing the best. He's like, but I run a well-maintained like tiger habitat. I'm like, you know what? This guy seems alright. And then they have an interview with what is essentially a survivor, one of his ex-wives.
Yeah.
And she's like wrapped in a blanket, and she's like, yeah, he's got like 5 wives, and we had to wear like skinny outfits, and I had to change my name.
Yeah.
Jesus. And I'm like, whoa, oh my god. And like, one of the more baffling ones I saw was the person that lost their arm to a tiger and then like 2 days later went back to work.
Well, that might just be someone who really enjoys their job, you know, like maybe they love the animals.
Well, I can understand.
Like, they're like, it's not the tiger's fault. I fucked up. Like, because that's how I'm often am about things. Like,
well, it's not so much the going back to work that baffles me. It's the next to no time taken off to heal. like got out of the hospital, waited 2 days, went back to work. Like, I would at least wait for it to heal up a little bit, because you're working with a lot of like bacteria. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least put them on the desk for a little bit. Like, that part was baffling to me, is that the person was like, you know what? Right back to work. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could do that if I lost an arm. Ooh. There's one guy that I like how he defended himself before he even started his part of the story.
He's like, was it the shirtless guy? Like, I'm not gay, but crystal meth is crystal meth. Was it that guy?
No. It's the guy who's the double leg amputee.
Oh yeah.
And he like stops midway through and goes, "This wasn't from tigers."
Yeah.
It's like, don't worry, this wasn't from here.
Dude, he is blown up on TikTok.
Really?
Yeah, the double amputee guy. Like, he did that whole Carol Baskin remix thing.
Really?
Yeah.
That was him?
Well, he wasn't the original, but he did like a version of it, and he's on there all the time talking about what he does now for like a job, and like people just love him to death.
It took me a while to watch Tiger King, because I knew who Joe Exotic was, due to the was it the Last Week Tonight clip?
Yeah, when he was running for president.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm broke as shit. I refuse to wear a suit, and there's some bitch down in Florida who has it out for me. Like, I was like, this dude.
Like,
I can't.
But I kept hearing the same like in joke from that series. I just hear people like, "Man, fuck Carol Baskins."
Oh hell yeah, that's still a thing. Like I still blame her for shit at my house.
Well, like I would keep hearing it out of context. Like, who the fuck is Carol Baskins? What's going on?
Like, we'll be fucking. I'll come home. My wife is like, "Oh, hey, do you remember to pick up like this from the grocery store?" And about that goddamn Carol Baskin. Like,
she's trying to tear down my tiger habitat.
But that dude was fucking insane. With the with him shooting the mannequin that he made.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a red flag right there. I would have called the police on that, but like, this is a terroristic threat.
They're firing a shotgun at like a totem of Carol Baskins with explosives.
Right? Or the when he's like, well, she sued me for this, so I'm gonna blow it all to shit with Tannerite. And I'm like, what? Only Oklahoma. Only Oklahoma.
No gods, no kings, only Joe Exotic. Like, it's so, like, it falls under this bizarre, like, this collection of people that, like, you have to wonder how many people in that circle believe anything that he says.
Right? Well, it's almost like he's brainwashed them, like a.
It's become its own cult.
Yeah, like a fucking. What's that dude from Waco? Like that shit. Like, he has this air of confidence around him, so people are like, "Oh, he's obviously telling the truth." And then, you know.
Yeah, he's speaking with confidence. He must be telling the truth.
And that's how it often is, unfortunately. Like, if I could look you square in the face and have like some bullshit fucking like graph charts and shit, and I'm like, "Hey man, so I've been doing my research. The earth is round, or the earth is flat." And if I say it convincingly enough and you're not, yeah, I'm just looping back to our previous conversation, but if I'm like, "Hey man, the earth is flat."
What kills me is that's the exact example I was angling for. Oh my god.
But like, but if you say it with confidence, people will believe you.
I'm gonna sit my parents down like, "Mom, Dad, you know, I've done the research. I have these graphs here, and I think we can find Bigfoot."
Yeah, it's real easy. I've gotten with some archaeologists and other people who have uncovered Bigfoot fossils, And through reconstruction of the skull, we believe a call would sound like this. Seaweed!
Have you ever seen the show Ancient Aliens?
Unfortunately.
I
wasn't a diehard watcher. I've caught a couple episodes.
So I was like I had just like I've heard that it's bullshit before, but I finally sat down and watched it the other day, and that show has what I like to describe as a hard left turn, because it'll start on a theory that seems like it makes sense.
Yeah, and then it's like fucking aliens, bro.
Well, it's like, isn't it interesting how the Mayans and the Aztecs had similar ways of calculating the days in the year? I'm like, that is interesting. And then you hear the narrator go, this must be a connection to the star people. It's like, shit. Right? Okay.
Or like, one thing that I've actually thought about was like, with like the fucking, like, white pyramids. Why did they build pyramids? Like the pyramids in Giza, the like weird ass temple looking thing in Latin America. Like,
I had somebody ask me that recently.
Like, what's up
well,
with
how
shape?
did they build
Why?
pyramids, man?
It's not even how.
Slaves.
I just want to know why. Like, they were living in other places. These are just fancy graves. That's a lot of work for a dead guy.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's how it used to work. Well, our king's dead. Let's build a monument to him. How big's the monument? Roughly the size of a city. Why? Well, because we want to build him a monument. What's so weird about that? Also, keep pushing that sandstone.
Yeah.
Well, like that was the question I got asked, is like, how were they built? So I'm like, with enough people, you can build anything.
Oh, hell yeah.
There was an episode I saw of Ancient Aliens where they were covering Stonehenge. And they're like, well, they could have just rolled it down the hill.
I don't know, if you get like 500 people, they could have just picked it up.
Yeah. And they're like, no, well, they could have rolled it down the hill. And then it cuts to like a CGI UFO, like picking it up with a tractor beam. I'm like, oh, no.
Or like, I don't know, just big monuments like that, like the Easter Island heads.
Yeah, well, there was one I saw, it was like...
Do you think, like, in the future, like, I'm talking, like, 2486,
yeah,
like, they're going to be looking at Mount Rushmore like fucking aliens?
In the 41st millennium?
Yeah.
The Imperium of Man?
They're like, fucking aliens did Mount Rushmore. Like, this is what aliens look like.
These are what the star people look like. You know what? I hope so. Have you heard about are you familiar with the website 9gag?
Yeah, who isn't?
Have you heard of the giant stone that's in the desert?
No.
Oh my god, I get to tell you all about this.
Tell me about Desert Rock.
So, the people at 9gag had a wonderful idea to celebrate humanity.
Alright.
And it was to get a, 2-ton piece of sandstone and then chisel in memes.
Oh, did they really?
I'm
like,
not
what kind of
kidding.
memes? Like top text, bottom text memes? Like, how long ago was
this? Oh my god. But so, I'll have to send you a link to it. Have you heard of Internet Historian?
Yes, I follow him, actually. I try to.
He's covered this, so I'll send you a...
Oh, I'm gonna have to watch this fucking Desert Rock meme-age.
So, but it's the most, like awkward penguin and, troll face, and, the most, 2006 to 2009 memes.
There's haul sandstone in the desert like a boss.
I think that's on there too. I'm willing to put money on it, but then they buried it in a hole for future future generations to find.
What the fuck?
My question is, like you said, like 2145 as the future year. Let's say that like we have already hit sort of a bizarre, I wouldn't say a peak, but sort of a strange new era of memes where not only is the joke itself becoming abstract, but how that joke is presented has become abstract. So there are times where you can just see a picture of something and you're like, fuck you. Like, I get that joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Loss. Are you familiar with Loss?
My wife watched it. I did not.
No, not Lost, but the comic Loss. It's a 4-panel comic.
Oh, no.
So it's by, if you ever heard of it, it's a webcomic called Control Alt Delete. And it's comedy based, but for some reason he decided to throw like drama right in the middle of it out of nowhere. Like, it blindsided a lot of people. And so it's become a joke in its own right because it.
Oh yeah, what the shit?
Did you find it?
Yeah, I just googled it up, and there's like just this one of this guy like running into a like an emergency room, and like his wife's on the bed like in pain or some shit.
Yep.
He's in a waiting room, and I'm not reading this because he sure is wordy. And then it cuts like this shit with like 1, 2, 3, 4 people of different colors holding different weapons to each other.
Yeah, right. But so that comic alone, Loss, has become so abstracted that you could show somebody a subset of lines that depict where the characters' positions are in the comic, and people will know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that might be my favorite part, but that also means that 9-gag rock that is in the desert is now immediately obsolete because there is no context for any of those images, and they will lose more context as time goes on. It's so...
Well, it's like any meme we do now. Like, I guarantee you, if I was to put up, like, I don't know, what kind of fucking memes do I have on my computer right now? Even the memes I have on here are old.
Damn it, they're all out of date.
Like for real. Like, if I were to be like, fucking...
It's like checking the fridge.
Like if I were to put that on something 10 years from now, is anybody going to give a shit?
And that is... Is that Romwell?
Yeah, I did a story for him, and somebody sent me this, and they were like, "Author JoJo, is that a motherfucking Author JoJo reference?" And I was like,
I had him on 2 episodes ago by this point.
"Oh, for real?"
Yeah. So that. Can I steal that and put it up on this?
I didn't make it.
Video?
I don't give a shit.
Oh my god. Well, I'm like, why is the word author there? And I see that profile photo. I'm like, is that Romwell?
Yeah, it's a motherfucking Author JoJo reference. What's in
Muda. Aura.
I don't know what that means.
I take it you don't watch JoJo.
No, I don't.
Oh, that's always fun. Desperately trying to explain what it's about.
Oh, that's fine. Don't waste your breath. I've had a friend do that.
Just all I can say is just go check it out.
Yeah.
Because each season is a different story, and they get just stranger and stranger, and it's fun. It's just a fun ride.
Yeah.
But oh my god, is that an Author JoJo reference? I you know what? I'll have to find one here. That.
But like even now that joke's already pretty old.
Yeah, because you kind of have to know
You have to know the culture. You have to know who this author is. You have to know what the anime is.
Yeah.
Other than that, it just looks like text and JPEGs.
Yeah, and it's it's like that specific photo is for somebody like me.
Yeah.
Who has all of that context. And like even oh, here's a fun one. I will put this up on screen. In editing, future me, don't forget. But have you ever heard of Harlan Ellison?
I can't say I have. At least nothing comes to mind immediately.
So now you have no context for what this is.
Yeah. Oh, I have no mouth and I must scream. Yeah, I get you. So yeah. I mean, that book was hella dark.
It's the, like, I have a huge folder of photos, but that's the one that always catches my eye.
I have no ass and I must shit.
Because it's just like the hardest strain I've ever seen on somebody's face.
Mm-hmm.
But like again, it comes down to context. Because like in 2145, who like, well, I'm pretty sure the story "I have no mouth and I must scream." If the singularity of technology is to be believed, it might happen.
Oh yeah. We're just going to have auto-generated memes, which I'm pretty sure is already a thing. Let me type that into Google and see what happens.
Yeah, there is a random meme generator
Auto-generated
out there.
memes. This is a... This meme...
Fucking fly.
Predicting meme.
Oh, no.
That's fucking annoying, but like... Here. I'm just going to copy that. And I'm going to put it here.
PUBG, Fortnite, me, PUBG.
Yeah, just an auto-generated meme.
Alright, future me, you know what to do.
Right?
Put it up on the screen. I for fuck's sake, I'm trying to keep it together here. But I love, like, see, the thing is, even without the words, that's still a hilarious photo.
This one's kind of funny just because it makes no sense. Sorry for that ugly ass laugh you just got.
I'm ready. What is it?
I'm like, what?
When you see your friend in the class, she says, "We have a dick." Alright, I'm gonna head out. Future me, you're gonna have to save all of these and then put them in the video. We're not monetized. We don't give a shit about age restrictions.
Right, that's what they were like, do you do adult content or kiddie content? And I was like, well, if I do kid stuff and I fuck up and do a grown-up thing, I could get slammed with a hefty ass fine. So I'm gonna do grown-up stuff. Hit me with them Budweiser ads.
I want to do that for just one video, like mark it as kids content, and it's like, you know, today we're playing Toy Story 2 on the PlayStation 1. The minute I follow something, I'm like, God damn it! Then go right back to like, alright, we're gonna try again.
But like this whole, because I remember when that became a thing, and I knew a lot of people that were tripping out about it, and then there were a lot of people tripping out about the, I forget, I don't even remember what they were complaining about. It was something kind of important, and it was based off something in the EU. I can't remember.
Well, I remember years ago there was SOPA, which was like the internet censorship thing that didn't go through.
Yeah, I think that was it. No, not the internet censorship one. The one that was like pretty much like if you make something, a video, and you put it in America, that's where it stays.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Wasn't it like COPPA? COPPA?
Yeah. That's a child one too. But yeah, that one.
Hmm.
But like everybody was like tripping out about it, and I was like, I don't know, this is a hobby.
Mm.
Can I share with you the favorite GIF I have?
You go right for it.
Do you know who?
It will end up on the background of this video.
Do you know who Ego Raptor is?
Yes, I do.
Did you ever watch Sequelitis? The like 2 episodes.
Yes, I did.
This is my favorite GIF.
You bet you're. Fucking genius.
I love the Sequelitis so much. And I think Aaron actually has a big role in me starting YouTube. Like there are a few people I really like that help me believe in myself that like, hey, I could do this. And even if it doesn't become something super big, I could still have fun with it and have fun with the friends and fans I do make along the way. And it was like people like Markiplier, who started off very humble. I feel like he may have lost some of that, but he's still a really good guy. Aaron and Danny, of course, because they taught me, you know, like, it doesn't matter if you're weird and goofy and shit. People like you for who you are, as long as you're not a piece of shit. And then like
as long as you're being yourself.
Yeah, and then like Mr. Creepypasta, he's a real cool guy. He's very level-headed. Like he's one of those guys like, yeah, he's got like over 1 million subscribers, but he doesn't like act like it. You know what I mean? It's like he's almost oblivious to the numbers. He's just doing this because he enjoys it and he likes telling stories.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite questions I've gotten once in a while. It's like, oh, you know, what do you do when you're not being like the Fresman character? I'm like, it's not an act. I'm wearing a mask, sure, but I'm not playing anything up.
Well, yeah, like I have my own little get up for like if I was gonna go out into a convention, once I got bigger, because I don't do it now. Now I just show up in like that convention's merch as myself. But once I get like bigger and people will be like, hear my voice, because that's my goal as a voice actor. I want you to pause your TV and waste 5 minutes of your life trying to figure out who the fuck I am because you heard me say something. But I plan on, I have like this little get up I have for like when I go to do stuff as that character. Like when I go to do stuff as Corporal Creepy versus as Travis so-and-so.
Yeah. And I had a weird argument with somebody recently. It's like, why wear a mask, man? I'm like, because I want to wear a fucking mask. That's the end of the discussion. That's it. It's because it's something I want to do. Well, it's funny that you mentioned.
Well, I have it. Like, I have a gas mask, and mine's for privacy, because I don't try to hide it. And if you ask, I'll tell you. I work in law enforcement. I love my job.
Yeah.
Right now, that's not such a valued
hot topic.
It's a pretty hot topic. It's not like, oh my gosh, thank you for your service right now. And you know, it has its ups and downs, but I do what I do because I enjoy it and I like helping people.
Yeah.
But that being said, once I get out there, people know I'm a cop. Maybe there's people who don't like cops. I've definitely made some not friends along the way. And I would hate for them to see me in public when I'm with, like, I don't know, maybe somebody who really enjoys my work and just be like, this piece of shit, and then it becomes a whole ordeal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or
then
somebody in my town watches one of my channels because they're browsing through YouTube. And they're like, hey, isn't that one guy? And they can be like, yeah, and just fucking blast me away.
Mm-hmm. And, like, personally, I like the the privacy of it, and B, I like how frustrating it is for other people. Because, like, there was a night where I was part of, like, a drunk voice chat with, like, 5-6 other, like, horror narrators.
Yeah, and that sorry to get off topic. But that's where the name Corporal Creepy came from. It was originally Officer Horror Time. Because I felt like law enforcement didn't really have a stand in YouTube as far as like the entertainment thing. It's always, you know, here's some like news thing and some super serious bullshit. And I thought like if I became the cop who's known for telling creepy stories or entertaining people, that'd be a good light on us. And then I got promoted from officer to corporal, so I was like, okay, I love alliteration, so why not Corporal Creepy? Yeah. And then I enjoy that name so much, I've already decided, like, if I do get promoted again, I'm not changing the name. I like Corporal Creepy.
Or Commissioner Terror.
And see, it's both got to start with a C, or it's not alliteration. So I was thinking, like, if I got promoted again, Sergeant Spooky.
There you go.
Right? But, stuff like that. But anyway, you were saying you were having that drunk stream with your friends.
Oh yeah, but somebody asked like, well, where's why the name Fresman? I'm like, because I'm Fresman. That's me. That's me. I'm the Fresman. I'm me. I'm Fresman. That's the whole. And it was just in a circle for like an hour. Just, well, yeah, but why the name? Like, because I'm Fresman. That's why.
Yeah.
And well, you mentioned Aaron Hansen and all that. So like I love the Game Grumps.
Mm-hmm.
I love them both.
I've been watching them since JonTron was on.
Yeah, and there was a moment. So like me personally making a YouTube channel took like a year because I kept kind of second guessing myself every time I had that moment of like I should make a channel. It's like but what's the point, you know?
Yeah.
And I had got myself a mask off of Amazon and painted it and put nylons in the eye holes and all that and made the channel and tried to start recording stuff. And right after that is when the Game Grumps office tour video came out.
Yeah.
They showed off that really nice office that they had up until recently. Mm-hmm. And I had this weird moment, and it wasn't jealousy. It wasn't like, oh, they're whatever, they're so famous. It was like, God, if, like, how hard does one have to work to reach that point? And do I have what it takes to work that hard to reach that point?
Mm-hmm.
And so, hear me out. It sounds negative, but allow me to explain. A lot of what I do on this channel is entirely out of spite.
Elaborate.
Now that does sound terrible, right?
Yeah, bad choice of words. I feel like you could have worded that different, but what
Well, I think it's also the most apt because it's not in spite of another person. It's not a fuck you to somebody that I have this channel.
Yeah.
It's more of in spite of me not wanting to do anything.
Oh, kind of like, fuck you, procrastination. I'm gonna do this thing.
Well, like, because there was a time where I just sat here and I had my mask and it was hanging up on the wall, and I had that moment of like, fuck, I don't know if I can keep going because like, I'm not gonna, because this is before Demasked, even before I started meeting all these wonderful people, including you.
Aww.
That like I didn't have that sort of like moment of what it could be. It was more of I was too focused on how I didn't know how to do anything.
Yeah, that's how I started out too.
And I had a genuine moment of like I'm sitting there just like fuck, I'm staring at my blank page. I'm like, what do I do? I don't know. I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. And I had this like moment of, why the fuck not?
Well, that's
like, why am I?
That's kind of why I like the whole channel trailer option.
Mm-hmm.
Is because like everybody's seen it, the whole like bullshit update video, which I think people should stay away from if you're an aspiring YouTuber or you want to get into YouTube. The hey guys, on this channel, I think I'm going to be doing like, stay away from that because that's boring. Nobody wants to watch that. Am I right?
I want to do like a counter like infomercial about my channel.
But yeah, but like mine was, and that's how my channel trailer is. But like I don't know, I feel like the channel trailer option just sitting there on your blank ass page is really telling you like, go out there and get them. Because once you put that channel trailer up, at least this was the way I saw it. I put that channel trailer out, and then I didn't upload for a week. And then I felt really guilty about it. Because I just told, I don't know how many people, because I don't know how many people have watched that. I wasn't keeping up with the views. I just told, I don't know how many people that, hey, I'm going to do this thing for you. And then I didn't do it. So I felt bad. And I was like, well, maybe I should do things. So I hit it hard. I was doing daily uploads. Daily horror stories. Solid for about a month. And then it started getting hard for me to get like permission from authors, and I was running out of like the, I don't want to say like free, but like the public domain stories pretty much. Like Uh, let me just look at like some of my first ones. Shit from like the creepypasta wikia that's been indexed because the author hasn't taken credit for it. And I'm like, okay, so I don't know. They don't know who it is, so I can't contact them for information to get permission. So I'll just leave a link to the story from the original source I got it from here, and I can go ahead and narrate. Well, now as I've run out of those stories, I'm like, hey, you write horror. That's really fucking cool. Would you be cool if I narrated this story? And they'd be like, yeah. Or they'd be like, fuck off, kid. Who are you? And I'm just kidding. Nobody's ever said that. But that's where I've become almost stagnant. It's like waiting for people to get back to me. And yeah, I'm getting kind of sad thinking about my channel right now. That's why me and my wife are playing with like different things. Like she wants to do a podcast about crime docs. I'm like, okay, we could probably do that. Or at the SCP training videos, because there's like thousands of those motherfuckers. Like I could probably make that an entertaining series, and as long as that's not my only content, I think I'd be fine.
Yeah, you could do like almost like you could do like a weekly thing of like a D-class debrief for the SCP Foundation. Like you're explaining to a test subject what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. But I really wanted that like 50s-esque, like little Timmy bullshit vibe.
Yeah, be careful not to interact with the statue.
Whatever you do not put your face into its mouth. Like I don't know. But like then I've just been focused on work, and work has been real crazy lately.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I should go home and record after work, and I get home and take a 12-hour sleep instead.
And like, well, it's so like you mentioned, like starting this as a hobby.
My bad. I have ADHD, so that was like 4 topics.
No, it's all good. I do like so. If you've watched any previous episodes, that goes for you two at home, party people. But a lot of times I will describe the conversation structure of the show as a car consistently careening off a cliff. Because we're never on track. There's no...
Do we hit the bottom?
No, it's just... It's like a 3-second gif of like the car pushing through the guardrail.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just that shot, so we're just always off the cliff. Never hitting the bottom. But I, personally, Demasked came from wanting to talk to, just talk to people behind the YouTube channel. Because, and I respect, are you familiar with the term kayfabe?
I'm not. Please, inform me.
So for you and those at home, kayfabe refers to wrestling, professional wrestling. So a lot of people will be in character, and whenever they're on camera, they're in character.
Oh, okay.
And so, a lot of times, it's either say you're Rey Mysterio, who's a luchador character, and you almost never see him without his mask. And even when he's at events with people and he's not even wrestling, he's still wearing his mask.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make something where kayfabe is respected. You can still be your character. I'm never going to ask you what your real name is.
Well, I already fucked that one up, so.
Well, no, you can tell me if you want, but I'm not going to be so what's your real name?
Oh, it's
Well,
I figured that's what Demasked was me being like, I'm not Corporal Creepy, I'm this guy, and I'm here to talk with this guy about things.
Yeah, of course. And that's what it's about, is kind of getting to know the person behind the content. Because, in talking to you, we both of us haven't narrated a creepy story the entire time.
Oh, no.
And so, that's why I personally enjoy this, and I'd like to do more. But like I love doing this, and I like doing gameplay stuff, and it's all roses.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
the tower's surrounded by roses.
Yeah. The tower surrounded by roses.
Yep.
But
I was waiting for that.
Oh God.
Not like this.
Not like this. Oh, my wife just called me.
Well, I think, let's see, what time stamp are... Oh, jeez, we're passing the 2-hour mark. You know what? I think with that, with our discussion about YouTube and why we're here, and Bigfoot, and Stephen King, and all this, I think we will draw this interview to a close. Corporal Creepy, thank you so much for coming on. I had a blast talking to you.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And you wonderful party people at home, please go check out Corporal Creepy. Links to his channel will be in the description below. Do you have a video that you would like to have put in the description?
Let me look. I do want the chair one, because that one's my personal favorite.
Okay.
Let me go to my stuff. I'm just gonna put like maybe one more. I'm not gonna be greedy. If you like comedy horror, the chair is definitely for you. And if you like independent authors, if you like author JoJo, My Father's NDA expired, which is one of my most recent ones. In fact, it should be at the top of it. That one's getting a lot of traction lately for some reason. So maybe you guys want to watch that.
Just won't hear. Dead Air Future Me, so we know what we're doing. Trying to sell, I'm writing on a piece of paper, share, and NDA expired. There we go.
Yeah.
So I can remember to write that, or put that in when we get to the upload process. It'll be a little bit before this specific episode goes up, because I'm trying to do this show weekly now.
Oh, fun.
So I've got a whole bunch of interviews to catch up on.
Well, I appreciate you having me on. I thought it was a blast and a half. They were like, hey, this guy interviews people. I was like, oh, what's he going to do, say no? So...
Yeah, I'm saying no 2 hours into the interview.
Right?
But I thank you, wonderful party people at home, for sticking by to the end. If you did, I very much appreciate you, and thank you again, Corporal Creepy. Again, links to his channel will be in the description below. Please go check him out.
Your thumbnails are
Pretty
lit,
please.
by the way.
Thank you. I make them myself.
All right.
But I will see you all later, and I hope all of you have a wonderful day.